our next speaker is Simon, right? Just so everyone knows, Simon is like my favorite person to follow on LinkedIn. I know it's mortifying to say that, but Simon posts the most useful conservation tech updates, and I swear I probably get about 90% of my news from Simon. So if you are
that's worrying.
Well, look, I don't know. You have your finger on the pulse. So tell us about your new funding call.
Okay, so and I'll post a few links in afterwards.
Amazing.
And I've tried to put some in. It's slightly ironically for an update on image analysis. There aren't any images in this presentation, so it's a little bit flat. It's all text, but let's see how we go.
It's fine. It's good.
I mean, just to introduce myself a little bit. So I work for NERC. So that's the Natural Environment Research Council in the UK. So, you know, our aim really is to, support the environmental science community via a wide variety of different funding calls, some of which come directly from us as a council, some of which, particularly the technology-focused calls, are often at UKRI level or in collaboration with particular councils. So there are within UK Research and Innovation, which is the umbrella organisation, there are 7 different research councils that deal with all sorts of different facets. So whether that's engineering, physical sciences, arts, humanities, social sciences, etc. So I thought that was just worth mentioning for those who aren't familiar with NERC or the acronym. So I've just have a few slides just to raise awareness of primarily the call on this particular slide, which is entitled Tools for Automating Image Analysis for Biodiversity Monitoring. That's probably the most relevant one to the Wild Labs community. But on the final slide, I've just referenced a couple of other calls which are also live at the same time. So in terms of what we call AIAB, because we just speak in acronyms inside of NERC, the focus area is to develop software systems which will help improve biodiversity monitoring through automating the analysis of images and videos. The bullets on this slide just highlight some of the things that applications should focus on, including outlining how the tools will actually improve monitoring, develop robust and verified software tools, which can be, the proposal in question may start in a specific way, have a particular focus area, but there's also an expectation that the work undertaken will lead to something that will have value more generically across the wider environmental sciences, ultimately. And also, we very much want to bring in research technical professionals, such as research software engineers and data scientists, into this call and within proposals that are submitted. So we're really looking at proposals of between £500,000 and £750,000. We will fund 100% of the full economic cost. The call itself opened in July, and I'll post a link to the call page later, and it's open until mid-October this year. In terms of who's eligible to apply, it's open to researchers within higher education institutions and universities, research council institutes, approved independent research organizations or IROs, PSREs, so public sector research establishments. And again, there's a list on the UKRI pages of all of the PSREs, and selected catapults as well. So that's another bit of an acronym. So catapults are funded by a different part of UK Research and Innovation. So Innovate UK fund those sort of business-facing catapults. So we particularly encourage applications from interdisciplinary, cross-disciplinary, multidisciplinary teams, collaborations between UK organisations. I've already mentioned a bit about RSEs and data scientists. And in terms of some of the limitations of the funding for this particular call, so you can only be involved in no more than 2 applications submitted to this funding opportunity, and only one of those can be as project lead. And project leads and project co-leads based outside of the UK unfortunately aren't permitted for the purposes of this particular call. You can include international collaborators or UK partners not based at approved organizations as project partners. Project partners largely will be required to fund their own involvement, although there will be some funding available for travel costs and other things. And there's a real push to encourage successful applicants to foster knowledge exchange and collaborative working, as you'd expect. This is just one of 3 live opportunities that the team I work within are currently involved in. So I should have mentioned at the start that I work within the digital environment infrastructure and data team within our strategic partnerships directorate. So we really manage everything digital in one place within the wider organization. That includes the application of different technologies, particularly transformative technologies, to the environmental sciences. So things like AI techniques, digital twinning, quantum, autonomy, and robotics. But we also manage the relationship with our data centers. So NERC has 5 different data centers associated with its national centers. Not quite sure why that's come up. And again, those are focused on different environmental areas or compartments. So, for example, the British Antarctic Survey is part of NERC. The UK Centre for Ecology and Hydrology, the British Geological Survey, the National Oceanography Centre. All of these are different NERC centres, and they have their own data centre associated with them. But we also have the Environmental Data Service, which is the sort of umbrella that extends across all of those separate data centres. So just to mention that, I'll put a link to our digital strategy into the chat afterwards as well. So in terms of some of the other NERC opportunities, innovation in environmental monitoring. So we had a webinar earlier today highlighting this program. So there's currently an opportunity to fund projects of up to 750,000 for up to 36 months, looking at innovative approaches towards environmental monitoring at either a sensor level or a systems based level. This is a £7 million call with DEFRA, so the Department of the Environment in the UK, and it's part of a larger £12 million program that will be going on for the next 3 or 4 years. So this NERC-led call on innovation in environmental monitoring will be followed by a Innovate-led call, Innovate UK-led call in the winter, which will be linked to it. So the NERC one is research community facing. The Innovate UK one is business facing, but they will overlap with each other. And the other one worth mentioning is something we call TWINE, which is, I haven't spelt out the acronym in the title, but it's essentially around digital twins for environmental science, or digital twins of the natural environment. This is a call that is currently open and will close in October. It's a collaborative call between the Met Office and the Natural Environment Research Council, and it's focusing on the following priority areas that are listed there. So things like climate change, biodiversity and ecosystems, and natural hazards. And again, that's for projects up to around £700,000. So the sort of maximum project size for all of these three calls is reasonably similar. The innovation and environmental monitoring call projects will go up to 36 months, shorter duration for both the digital twin demonstrators and the AIAB automated image analysis call.
Awesome.
So yeah, hopefully it's, you know, mainly just to make people aware of the opportunity. And I put my email details at the front of the presentation slides. If anybody wants to know any more, I would suggest that they visit the call page first of all, because there'll be a whole series of FAQs linked to the call page. If none of those answer your question, then feel free to contact me directly, and I can give you a bit more detail.
Look, I've also shamelessly dropped in your LinkedIn profile so people can stalk you there as well.
Okay.
But maybe follow instructions as outlined. But thank you so much for sharing them. I hadn't heard about these last two, so they're really interesting to hear about. I was wondering if anyone has any questions for Simon, drop them in the chat. I was wondering what's driving this from the UK government, because this is like quite a lot of funding coming through for conservation, environmental tech driven work, which is a bit of a change over the last few years, right?
Yeah, I've just put a link into our digital strategy, which is definitely one of the things driving that change. And associated with that digital strategy, we have a whole load of governance that's been put in place behind the scenes. So we have a digital research and infrastructure group within NERC now, and we have an investment board associated with that, and we also have the team that I mentioned earlier, which didn't exist 4 years ago.
Yeah.
For example. So there are a lot of drivers in place now that mean we can start to expand activity focused on supporting digitally enabled environmental science.
That's really exciting.
Yeah, it is. It's and it's growing year by year. So I would expect more call activity in this space going forwards.
In any particular areas?
Not necessarily exactly the same areas, but in areas associated with the natural environment, with environmental science and that interface with transformative technologies and different digital tools. And we learn from each particular call, particularly in terms of the level of interest and the sort of feedback that we get in terms of our offer to the community, and that all of that informs our thinking going forwards.
Interesting. One of the things you highlighted in your talk was encouraging building of networks by project teams, and we'd love to bring them into our community as well, because I think a lot of our community members will be applying for it, but also helping it build the global community as well. Stuart, I'm going to ask Stuart, do you want to jump in? Do you have a mic?
Apologies for being late. Usual Zoom aspects, but yeah. So for me, Simon, just any links with the Blue Planet Fund and the DEFRA, the coast work that's coming, because based on your themes and the direction, there looks like a lot of synergy and leverage potential there. To maximize both ends.
Yeah, happy to look into that further, and certainly with the innovation and environmental monitoring call, we're working in tandem with colleagues within DEFRA and a wide range of different DEFRA policy teams. So I think the level of coordination again will steadily improve going forwards.
Cool. And if there's any opportunities to help or support anything on that front, so yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, thank you so much, Simon.